Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri 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 Shivabalayogi Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
So shall we start, Navya?
Yes, uncle.
Okay.
1 minute, uncle.
Okay.
Okay. Let me start this session.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, Navya.
yeah. Good evening, everybody who has joined today's satsang. So, as today is India's Independence Day, so I wish to greet all the Indians a happy Independence Day for everybody. So, Shravani, would you like to tell something about Independence Day?
Hello everyone. Uh, Today we celebrate our Independence Day remembering 15th August 1947 when India became free from British rule after a long and difficult struggle for freedom. It is a day to remember the sacrifices of those who gave us our freedom and to value the nation we have today. Interestingly, in that year, Satyaraju, who later became Shri Shivabalayogi Maharaj, was just 12 years old. Almost 2 years later, on 7th August 1949, he was initiated into tapas by Shankara Bhagavan, appearing as a Jangama Devara, and thus began his 12-year journey of tapas, though which he later came to be known as Shri Shivabalayogi Maharaj. Over to you, uncle.
Okay, Shravani, thank you very much for that introduction. Navya, would you like to start with the question, Amma? Yeah, Vijaya Aka's question.
Yes, uncle.
Yeah.
As she's not in the meeting, so I would like to ask her on her behalf. So,
Okay, Amma, go ahead.
yeah. The question is, I have not seen any video or photos of Swamiji hoisting flag. I wonder how yogis view patriotism. They are universal in the sense they might be looking at all nations equally. They may not be feeling attachment or belongingness only to one nation. Did Swamiji display feeling of patriotism of our country? Would like to hear some incidents about this.
So, I see that Raj Alawat auntie has already replied to that. So, is she in the meeting, Amma? Is she on the Zoom call?
I cannot see auntie in the meeting.
Okay. So, no, just ask Ravani to read that out. That's a good reply. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Shavani. ಇದೆ
ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಯಾರ ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಇದು ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ರಾಜ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ
Satsang group ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಮ್ಮ.
ಹಾ ಅಂಕಲ್
Okay. ಸಿಕ್ತಾ?
ಹಾ ಅಂಕಲ್ The reply was, Dear Viji, as much I know, Shri Swamiji didn't participate in flag hoisting. At the same time, he had great love for the nation.
ಆಮೇಲಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ?
He always showed love and respect for defense personnel and always gave them blessings to be victorious and keep nation first. My husband and Colonel Ahlawat, General Han Singh Ji, Brig Amrik Vrik Sahib organized his visit to various army formations and he blessed them all. Over to you, Uncle.
Okay, Amma. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to thank Mrs. Alawat Aunty for her reply. And I agree with her. And personally, I feel that, why personally? I mean, all of us uh, should give the credit to the Indian armed forces, you know, to have maintained our independence. Okay, we got our independence on the 7th of August 1947. Okay, but if we are independent today and we are as a nation today, most of the credit should go to the armed forces. That is my opinion. I know most Indians would agree with me. Had we just depended on the politicians and others, I don't think we could have retained our independence for so long. And without independence, we could not have developed. Okay. So today we are a very proud nation, developing very fast. Okay. And much of that credit should go to the army personnel for retaining our independence. Okay. So I would like to thank the army personnel, the Indian army personnel of all forces. Okay. Army, Navy, as well as Air Force on this Day of Independence. Okay. Now, is Vijaya there, Amma?
No,
Is not
no,
joined yet?
not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, she haven't joined yet.
Okay. Vijaya, thank you very much for asking that question. It's very relevant for today, being the Independence Day of India. But then, what I want to tell you is that I asked exactly the same question to Swamiji once. Okay. I don't remember whether that was the Independence Day, but I asked this question and the same question, I felt that yogis belong to the whole world, actually the whole universe, right? So does a yogi identify himself with one nation? Does he consider himself a citizen of one nation? Okay. See, for the sake of uh, the transactions, that take place in the world, for example, he had to travel and he couldn't have traveled without a passport. So he obtained an Indian passport because he's living in India. Okay. But as a yogi, as Swamiji, as yogi, does he also respect and honor the country as all of us do? We call it our mother, right? Bharat Mata. So does a yogi also entertain similar thoughts and feelings towards the country? Or is a yogi neutral to all countries and he has to treat every country the same? The same question that you are asking now, okay? I asked it directly to Swamiji once. And he didn't actually answer the question as to why that was so. But he said, why do you feel that a yogi should not have devotion towards his nation? Of course, he belongs to the nation. Okay, so that was the answer that Swamiji gave. Now, besides that, what I would like to tell you all on this Independence Day is that the young Satyaraju, you might all know that, I mean, at least the Indians would know very well that the time from 1935, the day he was born, to 1949, was a very intense period of the India as a country. Okay. Because there was a huge struggle that was going on of different kinds, different types. There were armed struggle on one side. There was movements like Satyagraha, movement of peace and all this, ahimsa. All these angles were brought into that fight. And what Swamiji told us was that when he was a young boy, I think it was Mahatma Gandhi who started the movement where he said that it's not just a few Indians here and there, fight for freedom, fight for independence of our country. So he created a movement wherein every village could participate in that fight, in the fight for freedom. So in every village, there were a group of youngsters who were formed. Okay. I'm not sure if that was called the Congress at that time, but Swamiji also, I mean, not Swamiji, Satyaraju used to take part in all those activities at the village level because he was the leader of the youngsters in the village. Okay. So he also used to take part in that. And he also used to hoist a flag and all that. I mean, we didn't have a flag until 47, right? I mean, our own flag. The flag was created much earlier, but it was not accepted as Indian national flag. Okay. Only after, I think, or close to the independence, it was accepted as a flag. But the boys in those days, around 1947, before 1947 and after that, they used to engage in this kind of movement very actively. And Satyaraju was a part of that. Okay. Uh, I don't know exactly in 49 what was the position, whether if Satyaraju was not made to sit in tapas, was not initiated into tapas, whether he would have taken a big part in politics. I mean, I cannot talk about that now. But I can tell you that by that time, he had conquered the intense poverty of his family. Okay. He was earning enough both from the weaving profession as well as from the business that he had started. He was earning very well and the family was very well off. I mean, the standard then was that, 3 meals a day is a big comfort, right? So that family had that. I'll come to that a little later again. Okay. So if Satyaraju was not initiated into tapas, could he have become a politician? I don't know. He talked about being a businessman, but I don't know if he'd have got into politics also. No, because in those days, politics was very different. I think all of you will agree, right? When we are talking about what, 80 years ago? Okay. So the politics was very different, and we had very good people, very noble people taking part in politics at that time. So it won't be wrong to think that Satyaraju also could have joined politics had he not been initiated into tapas. Okay. So this much for the answer to Vijaya's question. Now, shall we continue with our discussion on the tapas, please?
Yes, Akal, we can continue. I cannot see any of the questions
Okay,
as
Amma.
of now.
Uh,
So can I give a brief recollection or about what are we going to talk today, Uncle?
yeah, Amma, that will be better because we need to create a context. See, what we are doing is, unlike in the earlier sessions, where each session had different questions, probably related to some extent, but they were all different questions, right? But in the last two sessions and in this session, what we are doing is we are discussing one single subject. Okay, so it will be good to recap what all I had discussed or we had discussed in the last two sessions on the same subject of tapas. Okay, so that will uh, remind all the participants about the context where we are, exact point where we are, so that I can continue with the discussion. Thank you for that.
Okay, Uncle. So we are discussing tapas since the past two sessions, and we will be continuing the discussion on the same topic in this session too. In the session on the 1st of August, we discussed the definition of tapas and the terms associated with it, such as dhyana and samadhi. In the next session on the 8th of August 2026, we began discussing the stages of tapas. Swamiji told us a person when enlightened begins tapas. Jadishankar told us that the term for enlightenment in Sanskrit is gnanodaya and explained its literal meaning as rise of wisdom. He also raised the question that the converse of Swamiji's statement, which is, it is necessary that everyone who begins tapas is enlightened before beginning the tapas, may not be true. We discussed the stories of a few tapaswins who performed tapas in order to obtain boons from gods. Jadishankar argued that a few of these tapaswins may not have been enlightened before they begin performing tapas. However, we know that they succeeded in their tapas and obtained the boons that they desired. Later, in the same session, we took up the stories of two sages who had attained Atma Sakshatkara, that is self realization in English, Sage Vishwamitra and Sage Valmiki. He narrated how they were enlightened and performed tapas. Please let us know if any one of you have any questions regarding the topics discussed so far on this subject.
Any questions, Amma? Anybody raising the hands or?
Yeah, uncle, I can see
Yeah,
one of the
go ahead.
question in the Zoom chat.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it is from Satyan Garu, who is also in the Zoom meeting. Can I
Okay.
ask him to ask the question? He is already in the Zoom
Yeah, Amma.
session.
Go ahead, go ahead. Ask him to ask the question.
Yeah. Satyan Garu, would you please unmute yourself and ask your question? We have given the access for you to unmute. Or else shall I read out the question, uncle?
Is he in the session, Amma? No.
Yeah, he is in the session, uncle. I have requested twice. Maybe
Okay.
it might be a glitch or something.
Okay, Amma. Go ahead and ask the question, then we'll see. Okay.
Okay, uncle. So, uh, so this is his question. I live in US. I heard about Maharaj. How will I learn his method of meditation? Along with that, what is Maharaj's method for self-realization?
Okay, Amma. So let me answer that question first before we go ahead with our discussion on tapas. Okay. Mr. Satyan, I hope you are listening and you are in the meeting. Okay. What Swamiji used to do was formally initiate people into meditation. Okay. By initiation into meditation, what we mean is teach the persons how to meditate. Okay. And the method that Swamiji adopted was that all the people who are interested in taking the meditation, either individual, only one person, or a group of people, they would all be made to sit quietly with their eyes closed and practice the meditation as taught by Swamiji. Okay. Then either Swamiji himself or a devotee of Swamiji used to touch the aspirants, the new aspirants on the Bhrikuti and softly whisper the technique of meditation in the ear of each of the aspirants. Okay. It was not publicly announced or it was not on the loudspeaker or anything like that. The person who is initiating was supposed to go to each one of the candidates or each one of the aspirants and whisper the technique in their ears. Okay. So this was the method that was adopted by Swamiji for initiating people. So even today we follow the same technique. Although Swamiji is not available in his physical body. Okay. For your information, I don't know how much you know about Swamiji. For your information, Swamiji Sri Shivabalayogi Maharaj has attained Mahasamadhi in 1994 on the 28th of March. Okay. But several devotees of Swamiji who were with him even earlier, and even new devotees who have been initiated and do the meditation, practice the meditation, they offer the initiation into Swamiji's meditation. Okay. So you will have to approach any one of those devotees who are offering the initiation and be initiated into Swamiji's tapas. Swamiji's meditation. Okay. Then you can practice the meditation. Okay. Please note that there is no charge for initiation. You don't have to pay any amount to be initiated into Swamiji's dhyan meditation. Okay. In the same way, there are no charges for any of the services that are offered by Swamiji and his devotees. Okay. Everything is free of charge. This is how it used to be right from the time that Swamiji started working on his mission in 1961 after he completed the tapas. Until the Mahasamadhi, and even now after the Mahasamadhi, 30 years after the Mahasamadhi also, the same practice is continuing. There is no charge for any of the services. Okay. And the whole mission of Swamiji runs on voluntary donations from devotees. Okay. So that much about the meditation. Then coming to tapas, I'm sorry, your question was about self-realization. Swamiji was very categorical that self-realization or Atma Sakshatkara, as it is called in Sanskrit, is possible or can be attained only through the process of tapas. There is no other way to get self-realized. This was what Swamiji taught us. The same thing happened to him. He had to perform 12 years of tapas to attain self-realization. And for your information, Swamiji used to say that self-realization is the same as God realization. Bhagavat Sakshatkara and Atma Sakshatkara are one and the same. This is what Swamiji taught us. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Please let us know if you have any other questions. Because you say you live in the US, we can send you, a list of devotees who are in the US. There are a few devotees in the US, and a few of them also offer the initiation. So, but you will have to correspond with them and organize a physical meeting with them. It's not possible to initiate people into Swamiji's meditation either online or through a phone or through a phone call. No, it's not possible. It has to be done physically by way of a touch by a devotee of Swamiji. Okay. I hope that answers your question. And if you have any further questions, please let us know.
Okay, Uncle. I cannot see
Okay,
any
ma'am.
questions or
Yeah.
any further follow-up questions from
Okay,
now.
ma'am. So let's continue with that, right?
Yeah.
So I will have to continue with this. Okay. No, we are still on the subject of Dhyanodaya. Now, I discussed Dhyan, meditation, followed by Samadhi. And now we have come to the different stages in meditation as we understand them. Okay. So the first stage, as explained by Swamiji himself, is the stage of Jnanodaya. Because Swamiji only spoke one sentence about it. That is, he said, a person who is enlightened, meaning who has attained Jnanodaya, performs tapas. Okay, so this is the only sentence that Swamiji uttered. Now, the rest is our interpretation and our discussion regarding that. And what I have been doing is, in the last two sessions, discussing how some of the people who have done tapas, how they had attained Jnanodaya, enlightenment. Okay, we know of a few people like that, few yogis. There are many others, but my knowledge is limited to just a few of them. So I am discussing whatever I know. And actually, at this point, I would like to make a request to all the participants. If any of you on the meeting is a devotee of Ramana Maharshi, I would like you to talk about how Ramana Maharshi got enlightened. Okay, I don't have the details with me. So if anyone can help me with that, I'll be really happy. Okay, we would like to understand. I've read a little about him, but if there is a devotee of Ramana Maharshi, then I would expect him or her to know much more than me. So I would like to request them to talk about Ramana Maharshi's Jnanodaya rather than me talking about it. Okay, thank you. Now, we talked about the Jnanodaya of sage Vishwamitra. Then we talked about the Jnanodaya of sage Valmiki. Okay, so next I would like to take up the Jnanodaya of Lord Rama. Okay, the idea is, we discuss the process of enlightenment of a few of the people whom we know, historical figures, who we know are self-realized. Okay, so that is the part I am in now. Earlier in the last week's session, I discussed about people who have performed tapas for the sake of boons, obtaining boons from gods. Okay, so that part is over. Now I am talking about people who we know are self-realized or have been self-realized. And we are discussing that because the goal of tapas is self-realization. Okay, not for all of them, but people who are called yogis, who have attained self-realization, the goal for them is self-realization. The goal of tapas. Okay, because we are discussing tapas, I am taking the cases of figures, historical figures that we know have attained self-realization. Okay, so the next example that I'm going to take is that of Lord Sri Rama. Okay, definitely a few of you would be aware, because this part of Ramayana is not shown in movies or is not available in the regular books on Ramayana that are in the market. Okay, this is a very specific phase of Ramayana, which is just a few days. Okay, and there is a big book of, big scripture of 30,000 slokas. Okay, and all those 30,000 slokas are a discourse by Lord Sri Rama's guru, sage Vashishta, to Lord Sri Rama. Okay, so that is not popular because it's a very long discourse, and it is, it's just stories within stories within stories, and then you have to understand the gist of it and actually what sage Vashishta had taught Rama. Okay, now, but how did Lord Sri Rama come to that point? How did he come to the point where sage Vashishta had to give a discourse, okay, for him to attain self-realization? I'm sorry, this picture cannot be the true representation of what I am talking about, because we know that Lord Rama was a very young boy, probably 14 to 16 years of age, when the Yoga Vashishta happened. Here, the person who is depicted as Rama seems to be much older, so that's why I'm saying that. And The Yoga Vasishta did not happen in an ashram setting, okay, or in a forest. It happened in the palace of King Dasharatha, okay? And all Dasharatha's ministers, they were all seated there in the hall, okay, in the assembly. And what we hear is that even all the gods and goddesses, they also came to listen to the discourse of sage Vasishta, which went on for a few days. Okay. So every morning they would all get ready after having finished their oblations, and then they'll come and sit there to listen to sage Vasishta's discourse. Okay. Now, again, I'm coming to how did it happen that Lord Sri Rama had to be given a discourse by sage Vasishta? Okay. The way it happened is Lord Rama was a prince, right? He was the son of Dasharatha. Dasharatha was the king. So he grew up in the palace as a prince, along with his three younger brothers. Okay, but it seems it so happened that at one point in time, the young Rama, as I am saying, probably 14, 15 years old, at that time, he had a desire to go on a pilgrimage, visiting all the sacred places around Ayodhya, I would say. And he went on that. And having returned from that, he became a very silent person. He would not talk. He would not mingle with anybody. He would try to remain isolated all the time, just by himself, alone. And it looked like he was thinking very hard about something and worrying about something. But he would not talk about it. So nobody knew what was happening to him. Right? Now, the other angle to this is that he was a prince, not just a prince. He was the crown prince of Ayodhya. Okay. So that is after King Dasharatha, it was Rama who should become the next king, the next ruler. Okay. So this state of Rama, which was actually a depression, what we today call depression, and people go to psychiatrists and take a treatment and all that, consultations and all that. That was exactly the situation of Lord Sri Rama. Some of you may not believe it. Some of you may get offended when I talk about this, but this is true. This happened. This is there in the Ramayana, but not in the Ramayana that is generally read by people. Okay. I'll come to the next part, then you will understand when exactly this happened, the context of it. Okay. So, what King Dasharatha, the queens, and the other people in the palace were trying to do was to hide this state of Rama from the public. Okay, they didn't want the public to know that their crown prince, the next king, has gone into a depression. Okay, so it looks like the stigma that we have today of a mentally ill person. I mean, depression is considered a mental sickness even today, right? So even in those days, depression was considered a mental illness. And so they didn't want to expose the mental illness of Sri Rama to the subjects of the kingdom. Okay? Because they'll get worried. I mean, they'll say, what is happening? So next, who is going to rule us? All these questions will come up. So they were trying to hide that. And only the people within the palace knew about it. Okay? Now, King Dasharatha was extremely worried. I mean, of all the people, it must be his father and mother who were the most worried, right? And of course, his brothers. So what King Dasharatha tried to do was, he created all the ways and methods, used all the ways and methods to make Rama happy, enjoy the life and feel good, trying to serve good food to him that he would enjoy, and bring people to dance for him, girls to dance for him and entertain him. He tried all the methods possible. And Rama did not respond to any of that. He stayed aloof. He remained in his own thoughts. He would not even talk about what the problem was. And nobody knew what it was because he was not talking, right? He went on a pilgrimage, he returned to the palace, and then this is a state. So what happened? What caused this? So this was the situation when sage Vishwamitra came to King Dasharatha's palace. From here, most of the people know the story from this point onwards. Okay, so sage Vishwamitra came to King Dasharatha's palace, and as a king, and Vishwamitra was not only a sage, he was an ancestor of King Dasharatha. Okay, so he welcomed him with a lot of respect, honored him, and then invited him into the palace, into the hall, into the courtroom, and then offered him a seat, did the Pada Puja to him and all that. And finally, as a king, he offered to sage Vishwamitra, "Sir, please let me know why you did, this honor to me of coming to my palace. A sage like you, there has to be a very good reason for you to come and visit my palace. So please let me know what your need is or why you came here, and I will do everything that is possible to satisfy you, okay? Satisfy your desire." So sage Vishwamitra asked him, "Is that a word? Is that a promise? Tell me that you're not going to go back on that word." So King Dasharatha said, "It is known that in my family, okay, the kings don't break their promises. So I am telling you, whatever you ask for will be given to you." I don't know what King Dasharatha thought. Okay, he must have thought that he'll ask for some money or something like that. So he said, "Go ahead and ask for it, sir. It will be given to you." And sage Vishwamitra, to everyone's surprise, said, "Please send your eldest son Rama with me. I am performing a yajna, and the Rakshasas are disturbing the yajna. They are not allowing the yajna to continue, and I am unable to complete that. So I need protection for my yajna, and I know that Rama can protect my yajna from these Rakshasas. So please send him along with me." And this totally surprised the king. He was lost. He didn't know what to do because he knew that Rama was in a state of depression. And a young man, probably 15 years, 16 years. So instead he said, "Sir, please don't ask my young son Rama to come along with you. He won't be able to bear the difficulties of the forest. You live in a forest, you live in a hermitage. He won't be able to tolerate all that difficulty. He is a young boy, okay? Instead, you tell me, I will come. I will not only come alone, I will come with my whole army. And I will make sure that your yajna is protected. No Rakshasa will be able to disturb your yajna. So please, let me come and help you." Vishwamitra said, "No, you are breaking your promise. You said you will give me whatever I ask for. You promised me, and now you're breaking the promise." So Dasharatha was in a fix. He didn't know what to do. Okay, and sage Vishwamitra was about to leave the palace, angry that you are not keeping your promise. You are not sending Rama with me. So at this point, sage Vasishtha intervened. He was the guru of King Dasharatha. So he was there in the courtroom. He was also seated So he stopped Vishwamitra and then he asked Dasharatha, why are you doing this? You gave him a promise saying that you will give him whatever he wants. He is asking for Rama, so send Rama with him. What is your problem? So Dasharatha didn't know what to do. Okay. Then openly in the court, he disclosed that, sir, my son Rama is in a very bad state of mind. He is in a depression. And how can a boy who is in depression go to the forest or help a sage in his yajna against the Rakshasas? Okay. Then sage Vashishta told him, said to him, how come I was not informed about it? How come you didn't tell me that your son Rama is in a depression, is mentally ill? Why did you hide it from me? Because I am your guru. I am the guru of your family. If any such wrong happens in your family, any such problem is there in your family, it is my duty as a guru to take care of that. So why did you not inform me about it? So Dasratha had to fold his hand and said, sir, this is the problem. He is the crown prince. I cannot let everybody know that he is in a state of depression. And at the same time, I don't know what to do, how to bring him out of that depression. I tried everything that is possible from my side. Nothing seems to work. He remains alone. He remains isolated by himself. He doesn't enjoy any games. He doesn't talk to people. He doesn't play with people. So what do I do? How do I? Then Sage Vashishta said, summon him to the court. Ask Sri Rama to come here. I will talk to him and I'll find out what's his problem. Okay. So then King Dasharatha sent for Rama. So Rama came to the court, bowed to all the sages there and his father, and he stood there obediently. Then Sage Vashishta asked him, Rama, what's the problem with you? Why are you behaving like this? What happened to you? Okay. Then Rama starts explaining his problem. Okay. I don't remember the whole of it. I can just give you a little gist of it. This question is very beautiful and very realistic, on one side, we consider him God, we pray to him. So we find it very difficult to believe that a God was in depression. But that's what happened actually. That is history. Okay. So then Rama explains, his condition to Vashishta. He says, I don't understand why I should continue living. I don't see any purpose in this life. What is there? People keep taking birth, people keep dying, they suffer a lot with illnesses and all that. And all this decoration and all this is just a show off. There is no essence in it. Okay. Anything that you take in the world is useless. Absolutely useless. So I don't find any meaning, any point in continuing with this life. I would like to end my life. This is what Lord Sri Rama said to Vashishta. Can you believe it? Then Vashishta told him, okay, I understand exactly where you are now. I understand your situation. I understand your mental state. I am your guru. It is my duty to heal you, to bring you back to normal life. Okay? So please listen to me. Sit here and then listen to me. I will explain everything to you. I'll answer all your questions. Okay? Then the discussion started between Sage Vashishta and Lord Sri Rama. So that went on to 30,000 slokas. spread over a few days. Okay. Every day from morning till evening. I mean, in those days, all business used to happen from sunrise to sunset. That's all, right? So sunrise, everything becomes sunset, everything closes. So because people came to know that sage Vasishta is giving a discourse, a lot of people in the kingdom who are interested in listening to that, they all came there and they all listened to him. And what's written in that Yoga Vasishta is that not only human beings, all other beings were also there, because it was very rare that a sage like Vasishta would give a discourse. So they all wanted to listen to that, and they all wanted to, uh, you know, uh, gather the wisdom from his speech, from his discourse. Okay. But again, there itself, right at the beginning, sage Vasishta tells Sri Rama, Rama, you are not an ordinary human being. You are an incarnation of Lord Mahavishnu. Okay? Who has been a yogi, who had done tapas, who? Lord Mahavishnu, who had done tapas and who had attained self-realization. You are an incarnation of that yogi. Okay? And I am also a self-realized yogi. Okay? Because of this nature of us, you as well as me, just by means of this discourse, I guarantee that you will attain self-realization. You will learn whatever is there to be learned. Okay? So the meaning is that that discourse is available to us. But just by reading it or just by listening to it, we cannot attain self-realization like Lord Sri Rama did. Okay? We, like Satyaraju, like Swamiji, will have to do tapas to get self-realization, to attain self-realization. Okay? And the discourse is very interesting. I mean, generally what we Indians, we have a culture that we don't question our gurus. We have to silently accept whatever they tell us. That was not the case with Rama and Vasishta. Okay? Rama is very polite, but he is very straightforward also. Every question that he asks, he straight away shoots it at Vasishta. And Vasishta, with all patience, he answers the question. And at one point, I remember that, I mean, I have not read, I read the Yoga Vasishta. There is a book called Concise Yoga Vasishta by Venkateshananda. Okay, this was the book that Swamiji recommended. I read that a long time ago, and it's very difficult to remember every part of that. Only so, whatever parts were interesting, I remember those parts, that's all. So at one point, sage Vasishta warns Sri Rama. Okay, he is the Lord, right? He is God for us. How many of us pray to Vasishta? No one, I guess, right? No one prays to Vasishta, who was Rama's guru. And how many of us pray to Rama? Almost all of us, all Indians. Okay? But that sage Vasishta, being a guru of Lord Sri Rama, he warns Sri Rama. Okay? Rama, please understand. If I give you an example to explain a point, don't stretch that example in different ways and then try to, derive meanings from that. That is wrong. I give you that example for a specific purpose, to understand one point. Restrict it to that. Okay? Understand that point from that. And then we'll go on to the next point. So this is the way the discourse, it's not a discourse actually, it's a discussion between Rama and Vashishta. Okay. And it's a series of stories, one linked to the other, one linked to the other. It's very interesting, but I mean, we get lost in it again, right? I mean, we have to remember this story and from where did we come here and from where did we come there and from, it's all linked to each other, each other, each other. So we'll require a lot of study, a long study to really understand and finally to get the essence out of it. Okay. So that is Yoga Vasishta. Again, I had to go into that depth to make you understand that Rama first went into a depression and then sage Vasishta gave him a discourse. And after listening to that, Rama came out of depression. Okay. But before that, there is another interesting point. It's there in the Yoga Vasishta itself. It seems by the end of the discourse, Sri Rama attained Samadhi, the state of Samadhi, I mean. Okay. That means he became unaware of the surroundings around him. He went into a state where he could not hear anything, he could not feel anything, he could not talk anything, he could not act on his own. That's, I mean, I keep describing the state of Samadhi, right? That is the state that Lord Sri Rama attained just by the discourse of sage Vashishta. Okay? So that discourse is that powerful. I mean, if we have the capacity to absorb and understand that. Okay? And then, because Rama has attained the state of Samadhi, Sage Vishwamitra got worried. Do you know why? Because if Rama remains in Samadhi, then how is his yajna going to be completed? He came to the palace of Dasharatha asking for Sri Rama so that Sri Rama could go along with him and protect his yajna so that he can complete the yajna. Okay, Rama was in depression and now sage Vashishta has brought him to the state of Samadhi. So if Rama remains in Samadhi, then what will happen to my yajna? That was the question that Vishwamitra had. Okay, then he requests Vashishta, Sir, you are the guru of Rama. Now he has gone into the state of Samadhi. So only you can bring him out of that Samadhi. And unless he comes out of Samadhi, he cannot accompany me. He cannot do his normal duties. So please, I beg you, bring him back to the normal consciousness from the state of Samadhi. And here is a very surprising, thing that I learned. It is written in the Yoga Vasishta that sage Vashishta entered the being of Rama. Shall I say the mind? I don't think mind is the correct answer. Okay? Sage Vashishta entered the being of Sri Rama, and from inside Sri Rama, he awakened Rama again and brought him back to normal consciousness. Do you understand the power of a yogi? Can anyone do that? Can a psychiatrist do that? He is in a state where he cannot talk. He doesn't listen to you. He cannot listen to you, right? So in that state, how do you bring him back? Back to the normal state. Is it a kind of coma? I don't know. Probably any doctor on this group will be able to explain that to us, whether coma and samadhi are the same. I mean, I'm not qualified to say that. Okay. So this is the point. Again, this is what I wanted to share about Lord Sri Rama's enlightenment. Okay. Please note the stages, okay? He goes into a depression. He's almost at the point of contemplating suicide. Lord Sri Rama. I am talking of Lord Sri Rama, not an ordinary human being, okay? But because he's an honest character, I mean, he could analyze the worldly life in an honest way, in a sincere way. Then he realized that there is no essence in this life, in this worldly life. Okay? Now, in that condition, I forgot to tell you this, but Sage Vasishta also mentions that it is not only that you are an incarnation of Mahavishnu and I am a self-realized yogi, you are in the correct state of mind where I can take you to self-realization. Okay? So what Vasishta was explaining was that you have to be in that state of, shall I say, depression or renunciation. Okay? So unless you are in that state, I cannot pull you into self-realization. Okay? He says that at the beginning itself. And then he starts the discourse. Okay? So this is what I wanted to, this is the point I wanted to make in my discussion about Sri Rama's enlightenment. Okay? Jnanodaya. Okay. Any questions in this, please? Oh my God, I see a lot of them. Okay. No, only one, Amma?
Yeah, the question is only one, Uncle.
Ah.
It is,
No, Ma,
it
I
is,
request Satyan, I think he is here. Okay, so I request you, sir, I will give you an opportunity when I come to discussing Ramana Maharshi, and I request you to talk about Ramana Maharshi's enlightenment, please. Okay, I would like to go to Gautama Buddha now. And then if we can come to that stage today of discussing Ramana Maharshi, I'll definitely give you an opportunity to talk about him. Now let's come to Lord Gautama Buddha story. What was his name? Siddharth, right? He was the son of King Suddhodana. Yeah. Okay. So King Suddhodana was the king of, I don't remember the name of the kingdom. Okay. Some of you may remember that. And exactly like Sri Rama, Siddharth was also a prince. Okay. And I think the only son of Suddhodana, right? And the same thing happened to him. Okay. Now, what I think I discussed this in the last session. What actually happened was that an astrologer in King Suddhodana's court, he studied the chart of Siddharth, the birth chart of Siddharth, and from the position of the stars, he predicted that Siddharth would become a renunciate, a monk. Okay, so that frightened King Suddhodana because he knew that Siddharth is the crown prince and he should become the king next. Okay? So what Suddhodana used to do was to take care that Siddharth is not exposed to any of the bad situations in life. He should not see anything bad. He should not listen to anything bad. He should always remain happy. That was the idea of Suddhodana because he thought that if Siddharth is exposed to anything bad, any suffering, that could cause him to become a renunciate. Okay? So he tried to keep him happy all the while. And to keep him happy, we are told that he was restricted to the palace. He was never allowed to go out of the palace, because inside the palace you can control the situation, right? You can take care to see that no suffering is seen by Siddhartha, or no news of any suffering reaches him. Inside a palace, you can control that. Outside in the kingdom, how do you control that? You cannot, right? So that is the reason he was restricted to the palace itself, and he was never allowed to go out of the palace. And yet it so happens. Now, I should also mention that before this incident happened, the enlightenment happened, okay? Siddhartha was already married. He even had a son. So he was leading a normal, happy life, married life. And then one day, he was taken out on a uh, tour, a trip of the city, I think. Kapilavastu, I think, was the name of the city, right? That's what I recollect. So he went out, and then there was a charioteer who intentionally took him out, is what I learned. I don't know whether it is true or not. And so on that trip, I mean, after he was married and after he had a child, Siddhartha went out into the kingdom and he started seeing suffering. People struggling with poverty, people struggling with disease, people struggling with old age. I mean, these stories are known to all of us, right? We studied them, I think, in the primary school itself, primary or probably middle school. Okay, and then he gets disappointed. Then he understands that now this is real life. What I have been leading is a life inside the palace, well protected, well provided. But that's not how all people are in the kingdom. All people are in the world. He understands that. Okay? And after that, I don't know the detail like I knew about Lord Sri Rama. Okay, then he also starts thinking about it. What is this? Why is all this happening? What is the reason for this suffering? Okay. Then ultimately they say that he realized that desire is the cause for suffering. Okay. Because people have desire of different kinds, that desire itself, to fulfill the desires, they go to all the trouble and all that. And if the desire is not fulfilled, again you are in grief, right? To fulfill the desire, you go to a lot of trouble. You go through a lot of trouble. So that was what he came out with. See, this line was taught to us in the primary school. I don't know anything beyond that. What really happened to Buddha? But we know that he also became a renunciate. He left his wife, he left his child, he left the palace, he left the kingdom. He sacrificed all that. He said, no, all of this doesn't make any sense. There is no essence in this. There is nothing in this. It's just a routine life, and then we live for some time, we enjoy life, and then we die. So what is it? What is the ultimate truth? What is beyond life and death? So he started doing the same thing. Something similar to Lord Sri Rama. Okay, now I'm sorry, but this is all I can tell you about Gautama Buddha. I don't know anything more than that. Then I come to the third example of a person who has attained self-realization. His name is Yogi Vemana. I talked about him earlier. He is from the state of Andhra Pradesh. I don't know exactly which district, but he was also a prince. Okay. But he was the younger brother of the king. Okay. Now, being a younger brother of the king, again, he had all the luxuries that people could have had in those days, all the luxuries that money could have bought, that political power could have bought. So he had all that. And finally, he fell prey to a prostitute because of his lust. And he was infatuated with her. Okay. So much so that she started manipulating him to fulfill her desire, basically to get money, wealth, whatever from the palace. Okay. So at one point, what she does is the prostitute, okay, she asks Vemana, Prince Vemana, to, to get her the nose stud of his sister-in-law, the queen. Okay. So this fellow, he wanted to satisfy his friend, girlfriend, if I can say that. And so he goes to the queen and then he begs her. I'm sure he would have addressed her as his mother because we Indians consider our sisters-in-law, elder sisters-in-law, as mothers, right? So he would have gone and begged her, mother, this girl is demanding your nose stud, so please give it to me. Okay. Then the queen gives the nose stud to him. But I understand she gives it in such a way that he realizes that whatever he has been doing until now is worthless. That is, being infatuated by a prostitute is a very bad thing to do. And not only that, he also comes to the same state, saying that this worldly life is useless, pointless. So he also becomes a renunciate, he performs tapas. And Swamiji told us that he could attain the same state that Swamiji did after 12 long years of tapas. Swamiji told us that Yogi Vemana could attain that same state in a period of only 5 years. Okay? A very rare case. Try to understand what I'm saying. Can you show me a guru who declares that some other person is greater than him? Better than him in some way? No guru will do it. Only a yogi will do that. He will talk the truth. A yogi will talk the truth. Okay? It doesn't matter to him because he doesn't have ego. If Swamiji didn't tell us, we wouldn't have known that Yogi Vemana attained the same state that Satyaraju did in 12 years. He could do it in 5 years. Swamiji told us that. Okay? Okay. So that is what happened with Yogi Vemana also. Okay? Now here, I would like to come to Ramana Maharshi and I request Satyan to please explain to us how Ramana Maharshi attained Jnanodaya,
Uh,
enlightenment.
Uncle Satyan Garu messaged me, direct messaged me.
Yeah.
Actually, he's not in a situation to talk out loud,
Okay.
so
Okay. Okay,
I
Amma.
can just read it out if you don't mind, Uncle, or
Yeah, Amma, go
otherwise,
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So Satyan Garu says,
Ah,
Ramana Maharshi's enlightenment is quite unique. It
ah,
had it happened suddenly without years of meditation or study.
yeah,
He got the fear of death.
yeah.
He reasoned, if the body is dead, am I also dead? He
Ah,
realized that although the body could die, I'm not this body. He had discovered that his soul will survive after death.
yeah,
He experienced what he later called the self, which is not something that is born and therefore cannot die. He asked people to investigate the question, who am I?
yeah. That's correct, Amma. That's about the same thing that I know. Okay, but I'll just add a little more of detail to that. And Satyan can correct me if I am wrong somewhere. What I read about him, I think I remember vaguely, is that he developed a terrible fear about death. I mean, he would have seen somebody die, okay? So he would have wondered, the same thing is going to happen to me. I am no different from that person. So if he has died today, sometime later I am also going to die. Then what is this death? What is happening? Okay, then what I remember reading is that it seems he lied down like a dead body. Okay, he wanted to experience that and learn from it. What is this death? What is dying? Okay, and it seems he lied down without moving any part of his body or anything, without doing anything at all, trying to replicate a dead body. And then he wanted to experience that. How is death? What is the experience of death? He wanted to experience that. Okay. And that's what gave him probably the experience of samadhi. I mean, I should not be calling it technically, I should not be calling it the experience of samadhi, but he attained the state of samadhi. I mean, I say that as I keep repeating, samadhi is not something you can experience. Okay, because your mind is not there to experience anything. And without the mind, you cannot experience anything. Okay, but he attained that state of samadhi. Okay, and then he used to teach exactly that. First, try to find out, who am I? That was his basic question. Okay, and in one interview that I was there, uh, when a few devotees were interviewing Swamiji in Bangalore, in the Bangalore ashram, and I was there, and I was interpreting between Swamiji and the devotees. And Tom asked Swamiji this question about Ramana Maharshi. What Ramana Maharshi is teaching is different from what you are teaching and all that. Swamiji said, no. Ramana Maharshi also said that first you need to know who you are. First learn that. Without knowing who you are, what else can you learn? Okay. So what those people are referring to by that you, who are you, is the self, not the body, as we refer to ourselves as. We refer to our body as we, okay, I. We refer to our mind as I. Somehow they have reached a state where they don't do that anymore. Okay. That is our goal too, right? I mean, we would like to reach that state and maybe go beyond that. Okay. So this is all about the other yogis who have attained self-realization. We are discussing basically the Jnanodaya part, the enlightenment part. That's all. We have not gone into the details of the tapas yet. Okay. We will have to do it later on to understand that. Now, I want to come to our Guru, Shivabalayogi Maharaj. But I just want to summarize what we have discussed until now. We have seen that in the case of Rama and Buddha, the Jnanodaya, the enlightenment, was preceded by disappointment. Disappointment with this worldly life, with the ways of the world, okay? Okay? And as a consequence of that, they develop disinterest in life itself, in living itself. Okay. And then followed depression. What else will happen when you lose interest in living, interest in life? You reach the state of depression, right? So after all these three stages only, they could attain enlightenment. And then they started the tapas. Okay. In the case of Rama, it was different because sage Vashishta was available physically. So he could take him to the state of self-realization just by means of his discourse. Okay. And Rama was also qualified to be, self-realized just by a discourse from sage Vashishta. Okay. And then we discussed the story of Yogi Vemana and then now Ramana Maharshi. So I'm just trying to point out that the process of enlightenment was different in each of these cases that we have discussed until now. Okay. Now let us come to Satyaraju's case. I mean, I know about Satyaraju because I spent a lot of my time, several years, living with Swamiji, traveling with him, interpreting for him. So I know what all he talked and his story and all that. I have read his books. So I know, and a lot of this information is available in the books. Okay. I mean, I try to draw some conclusions and some understanding from that. But the main story is available in books. It's been recorded. It's been recorded in several books, not just one, at least 3 or 4 books. So all of you can read that. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So, I mean, it's my personal opinion that what happened with Satyaraju was very different from what happened with Lord Sri Rama or with Gautama Buddha or with Vemana. Okay. Now, as I said, I don't know much about Ramana Maharshi. So I don't want to talk about him. It will not be proper for me to talk about him. But the other three yogis I mentioned. Now let us look at what actually happened to Satyaraju, right? How did he get enlightened? That's the topic of our discussion, right? The process. Okay. Can someone tell me? I know there are a lot of devotees of Swamiji in this session, in this Zoom meeting. So, can someone tell me how Swamiji or Satyaraju got enlightened? Anyone, please. I mean, I want to make it interesting, okay? I want to make it a discussion. I don't want to make it a lecture. So far, I have been lecturing, so I want people to participate and give me the answers to my questions so that it will become more interesting to others who can also join. How did Satyaraju get enlightened? And then he began tapas. He performed tapas for 12 years. But my question now is specifically, how did Satyaraju get enlightened? I request people to answer that question, please. Balu, just give me a break, Balu, a couple of minutes, and I'll be back. So in the meanwhile, if anybody is willing to answer the question, I would like to listen to that. Okay? Thank you. ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕ್ತೀಯ ಬಾಲು ನೋಡಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಇಷ್ಟ
ಸರಿ
ಓಕೆ ಬಾಲು
ಇದು ಇದಾಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್
ಆಯ್ತು ಬಾಲು ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೂ ಸರಿ
These events took place on August 7 of 1949. For the next 8 years, the young yogi This is the story of a yogi who was born in a small village named Adivarapupetta. The village is located near the mouth of the sacred Godavari River in the fertile rice paddy country of Andhra Pradesh in South India. Satyaraju was born on January 24, 1935, into a poor family of weavers. His father died when the boy was only 2 years old. His mother and grandfather struggled in poverty to bring up the outspoken young boy. Just outside the village is an irrigation canal that brings water from the Godavari River to the nearby paddy fields. One hot afternoon when Satyaraju was 14, he and 11 friends went swimming in its cool waters. Nearby was a grove of tall palmyra trees. Its fruit was ripe, so it was juicy and sweet. The boys found 3 fruit on the ground and divided them up. Satyaraju sat on the canal bank and squeezed his piece of fruit to extract its juice. Suddenly his body began trembling. A light and the sound of Om emerged from the fruit in his hand. He became immersed in bliss, and his mind became calm and peaceful. A black Shivalingam appeared in his hand, then broke in half. From it emerged a tall yogi who made Satyaraju sit with legs crossed and eyes closed. Then the yogi touched the boy between the eyebrows and gently tapped him on the head. Satyaraju immediately lost outer consciousness and went into a deep samadhi, the state of peace and silence. He was totally unaware of his body or his surroundings. All he could see was the same black Shivalingam surrounded by a dazzling light. All he could hear was the cosmic sound of Om. His mind was completely absorbed in this vision and in this sound to the exclusion of everything else. These events took place on August 7 of 1949. For the next 8 years, the young yogi meditated in samadhi for at least 23 hours every day. For another 4 years, he meditated at least 12 hours every day. There were periods when he remained in unbroken samadhi for months at a time. Meditation in samadhi brings about a profound transformation. It is a process called tapas.
ಬಾಲು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
Centuries
ಮಾಡಬಾಲು
ancient
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೀಗ ಎನ್ಲೈಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಲ್ಲ, ನಾಟ್ ದಿ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ತಪಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಶೋನ್ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ನೌ ಇಸ್ sufficient, Balu. So if any of you can answer my question, please. How did Satyaraju attain enlightenment? How did he get enlightened? I think
Uncle,
there
I
is one. Yeah.
people writing in the chat, Meeta Vyas ma'am. Ma'am. So she have written how, like, the answer for the question. Shall I ask her to
No, just
answer
read
that?
it, Amma. Or if she wants to talk, we'll be happy to listen to her.
Yeah. Ma'am, we have given access to unmute yourself. You can speak the answer, or otherwise I'll just read it out.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes,
You
yeah.
can read it out. It's fine. I had this impression that Shri Shivabalayogi ji attained his state of samadhi or state of enlightenment through his guru, which appears only to him, visible to him. So that was something out of this world experience for him, specifically for him. And that's my understanding of his enlightening into this yogic world.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much for that
Uncle.
answer. Okay. So the answer is the Jangama's touch on Satyraju's brikuti caused him to attain the state of samadhi, right? Then are we saying that?
And prasad, blessed food. His Holiness never charged for any of his services and never.
Balu, adin aapta ho, Balu? Okay. Thanks, Balu. So we know that Satyaraju attained the state of samadhi when the Jangamadevara touched him on the brikuti, right? So that is the story. But then that raises a question. Is enlightenment the same as samadhi? Okay. Let me ask you a further question. See, until then, Satyaraju did not meditate at all, right? So, but we all know that to reach the state of samadhi, it takes a lot of practice and struggle to attain the state of samadhi. I mean, if you go by the Ashtanga Yoga of what's it sage? Forgot his name.
Patanjali, Uncle.
Patanjali Yoga. Okay. Yeah. So sage Patanjali, he has described the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 different stages of spiritual practice, okay, to reach samadhi. And according to him, the final stage, or probably the pre-final stage, is what is samadhi. Okay. But Satyaraju has never gone through all those 6 stages before that. So how could he attain samadhi? Okay. That is my question. Now, one explanation I can give is that was not dhyana samadhi because he never did dhyan. That was bhava samadhi. So as I had explained earlier, the meaning of bhava samadhi, here what happened is Lord Shiva, in the form of a Jangama Devara, again in the astral form, not a physical form, right? In the form of an astral Jangama Devara, he touched Satyaraju on the brikuti, and that sent Satyaraju to the state of samadhi. Okay? So in bhav samadhi that can happen, but dhyana samadhi cannot happen in that way. Okay? But then are we saying that enlightenment is bhav samadhi? Or enlightenment is samadhi? Okay? I don't think so, because if bhav samadhi was enlightenment, then scores of devotees, probably I can say even hundreds of devotees of Shivabalayogi, Swamiji, who experienced bhav samadhi, trance, are all of them enlightened? I don't think so. See, the point I'm trying to make is bhav samadhi is not enlightenment. Even samadhi is not enlightenment. Consider this, okay? We know that when Jangamadevara touched Satyaraju on the brikuti, he attained samadhi or bhav samadhi, okay? But he didn't remain in samadhi for all the 12 years. As we know from the description that Swamiji himself gave of his tapas, and also from his fellow villagers, he used to come out of samadhi and go into samadhi, right? Every midnight, he came out of samadhi, he washed himself, he changed his kaupinam, he drank a little cup of milk if it was available. And then he sat down for meditation and again he went into samadhi. Okay? I don't think enlightenment is that. It's not that you become enlightened and then you become unenlightened and then again you become enlightened. No, enlightenment happens once. If you're enlightened, that's it. You remain enlightened. You don't become unenlightened again. No. So definitely there is a difference between samadhi and enlightenment. Bhav samadhi and enlightenment. Okay. So let us try to understand that. But for now, there is just another question that has come up. Navya, can you please ask that question, Amma, from Alyosha?
Ayosha is in the Zoom session, Uncle. So can I
Please,
request?
please request him to.
Yeah, sir, we have given access for you to unmute yourself. Could you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Navyata, I can my question in my smartphone, and through that smartphone, I enjoy Zoom, and I cannot speak about question precisely because I don't know English so well. I wrote question because of Google Translator.
Okay.
And please read question.
Thank you very
Yes.
much, Alyosha. Yeah, Navya,
Sir.
go ahead, Navya.
Yeah, Uncle. Let me read out the question, Uncle.
Please.
So, dear Uncle, Satyaraju would come out of Samadhi around midnight. The locals would often spy on him. But by the time everyone would be asleep,
Yeah.
Shiva put the locals to sleep and then wake up Satyaraju from Samadhi. If I understood you correctly, Uncle, that Shiva woke him up at midnight.
Yeah.
Did Shivabalayogi talk about that? I guess he did not put the locals to sleep himself.
Okay. So the question is clear to me, Alyosha. So let me answer this. This specific question, actually it's a digression from what we are discussing. But because we are at the point where I said that, Satyaraju came out of Samadhi and went back into Samadhi once every 24 hours, I thought this is the right point to address this question. That's why I took it up. Now, we know that Satyaraju, again, just now I mentioned, right? We know that Satyaraju had no prior experience of meditation. He didn't practice meditation before that. He didn't know what meditation was. Okay? So, he could not have attained Samadhi by himself. Okay? So, it was something that was happening to him. He was not causing it to himself yet at that stage. Okay? So it was Lord Shiva who put him into the state of Bhav Samadhi. So he remained in Bhav Samadhi for 23 hours a day. Okay? And we know that once a person goes into Samadhi, he cannot come out of it by himself. To put it in a way, he is not there. He is not present. So he cannot do anything, and so he cannot come out of the Samadhi also. Just like I explained about Sri Rama. Sri Rama went into Samadhi, attained the state of Samadhi, and he cannot come back. Only the Guru can bring him out. And see how he did it. They say he entered Sri Rama. What does that mean? He entered Sri Rama. Who? Guru. Sage Vasishta entered Sri Rama. That's not physical, right? So sage Vashishta entered the being of Sri Rama and brought him out of that state of samadhi. Okay? So in the same way, even here, Lord Shiva used to put him into samadhi and bring him out of samadhi when it was required. So during that period, Lord Shiva used to bring him out of samadhi at midnight. Remember, I told you the story of how Swami Kena did the tapas in Bangalore ashram. He was restricted to his own single room, alone. No company, no companion, nobody to talk to him, and he is not supposed to talk to anybody. And Swamiji allowed him to come out at midnight. Why? Because there's nobody around at midnight in the ashram. Okay? And only then he could come out and take a walk if he wanted to, if he wanted some exercise. But during the rest of the day, when the other inmates of the ashram and other devotees are going around the ashram, he was not supposed to come out. Okay? So this is tapas. You should not be exposed to another human being. As simple as that. That is the reason people go into secluded forests, caves, and do tapas there. Because they should not meet another person. Okay? Now that is the reason Lord Shiva used to wake him up at midnight, so that there is nobody around him. Because Satyaraju is doing tapas and he is not supposed to meet or talk to anybody else. But there were some locals, who wanted to spy upon him, pry upon him as to what all is he doing, how is he surviving, what is he eating, what is he drinking. It's just for their own curiosity, that's all. Okay? So some people, they decided to keep awake the whole night and check what all Satyaraju does. No, this happened because every early morning, if they went to see Satyaraju, they would see a wet cowpeenam hanging there to be dried. And Satyaraju was wearing a new dry cowpeenam. So that was what he used to do. Every night, he would wash himself, wash the cowpeenam, put it out for drying, and wear the other cowpeenam that was available there. And the next night, the same thing would happen again. So because they saw that, they knew that sometime or the other during the night, because all during the day he was being watched, right? So sometime or the other during the night, he is taking a bath and he's also changing his cowpeenam. So when is he doing it? How is he doing it? That was their inquisitiveness. They may not have had any bad intention. Okay? But because Satyaraju was doing tapas, he was not supposed to interact with anyone. He was not supposed to talk to anyone. Okay? So for this reason, I think Lord Shiva himself put those who were trying to spy upon him, to pry upon his tapas, into sleep before he woke up Satyaraju. I mean, he brought Satyaraju out of the samadhi. Okay? So that there is no possibility of an interaction between them. Okay, now, how do we know that Satyaraju did not do it and Lord Shiva did it? Because Satyaraju was not able to control even himself. Please remember that, right? I explained. When you are in the state of samadhi, you are not even aware of your surroundings. You cannot move your body voluntarily. You cannot even open your eyes. That was the state in which Satyaraju was. And this was just the beginning of tapas, right? See, please remember that it is also mentioned in the book that it was only the first 3 months, I think from August 7th until about November or December, that he was out in the open. Okay. Then after that, he moved to the Jamindar's field, not really the Jamindar's field, but the land near that, the graveyard near that. And then there was a hut put out for him, and then he lived in that, right? So nobody would go there, nobody would disturb him there because of the fear of ghosts. Okay? So this incident where people were trying to spy upon him happened in the first few days, okay? But they could not see him because they used to find that they fell asleep in spite of whatever they tried to keep themselves away, okay? And some people described that, they would just fall asleep for a few minutes. They couldn't control themselves, so they fell asleep, and by the time they woke up, Satyaraju had finished his bath and already changed his kaupinam, and then he's back there sitting in samadhi. This used to happen. I mean, it happened a few times. So they were thinking that they were not being allowed to, see Satyaraju take a bath or something like that. But my understanding is that no interaction with another human being is allowed during tapas. Okay? Now let me again explain this a little bit more. As long as Satyaraju is in samadhi, he cannot interact. Right? So although the others want to talk to him or do something with him, he is in samadhi. So he cannot interact. So therefore, he cannot be disturbed if he is in samadhi. The only time he can be disturbed or he can be influenced, let me not use the word disturb because it would give a bad sense to that. He cannot be influenced either in a good way or in a bad way while he is in samadhi. Only when he comes out of samadhi and he is in his normal senses can he be influenced by others. And so Lord Shiva was taking care to see that when he is out of samadhi, he is not exposed to other people. He does his work, whatever he needs to do while out of samadhi, and then he goes back into samadhi. Okay? So I feel that Lord Shiva was trying to protect Satyaraju from being disturbed, from being distracted from his tapas by putting those people into sleep. Okay? Now, so that is the answer to Aljosha's question. I hope I am clear, Aljosha.
Completely clear.
Okay.
Completely. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much. Okay.
I'm satisfied.
Okay, welcome. Okay, now how shall we go forward? Shall we have more questions, more informal discussion, or shall I continue with my discussion? Any questions, Navya?
ಅಂಕಲ್ ನನಗೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂಕಲ್.
బాలు బాలు
ఫాలోఅప్ క్వశ్చన్. సో ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ అందరికీ జ్ఞానోదయం అయింది అంకల్. మీరు చెప్పిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ అందరికీ జ్ఞానోదయం డిఫరెంట్ దీంట్లో అయింది, పద్ధతిలో అయింది. బట్ స్వామీజీకి ఇప్పుడు సమాధి స్థితి ద్వారానే డైరెక్ట్ గా తపస్సులో కూర్చోబెట్టారు కాబట్టి జ్ఞానోదయం అవసరం లేకుండానే తపస్సు చేశారా, లేదా జ్ఞానోదయం అని దేన్ని అంటారు?
అదే అక్కడికే వస్తున్నాను బాలు, అదే క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్ చేస్తాను. ఓకే, నౌ వాట్ బాలు ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ ఇస్, ఐ మీన్ హీ హ్యాస్ ఎ డౌట్, హీ ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ మీ వెదర్ Satyaraju did not require to be enlightened because he was put into the state of samadhi. So in samadhi itself, he began the tapas and then he continued the tapas. He didn't have to be enlightened, is what Balakrishna is saying. Okay, so do anyone want to address that question?
Uncle, after listening to you many times, I feel Swamiji doing repeated tapas, and finally his guru says that you are enlightened after some time, because he asked him, now you are enlightened, anything you want a boon or anything, he tells nothing, because you have already put me to tapas, and now what should I ask? So I assume that was the point of his realization, because when his guru is asking him everything, like, so that is the point of realization. A guru will be willing to give anything to his disciple only after he is realized. So that was his last point of realization when he asked, and he gave what to be done, what was Swamiji's real activities to be done after realization. Yeah.
Okay, Girish. See, have you read Tom's books, Girish?
Not much, uncle.
Not much. Okay. Yeah. But have you read Tapashakti?
Yes.
Yes, you have read Tapashakti, right? Now, do you remember that Swamiji said enlightenment is not everything? Okay? When a person gets enlightened, he starts doing tapas. Okay? And then when he succeeds in tapas, he attains self-realization or God realization. Okay? So to understand that, what I'm saying is enlightenment is the beginning of tapas. That's not the end of tapas. That's not self-realization. That is enlightenment. I'll come to that, okay? I'll try to explain that in my own words. I already did with the examples of Sri Rama and Buddha, but I'll again define that so that you may understand that. So, after enlightenment, the person starts doing tapas, either 5 years of tapas like Yogi Vemana or 12 years of tapas like Satyaraju, and then he attains the goal. The goal is self-realization. Okay? So it was not at enlightenment, at Jnanodaya that Lord Shiva offered him the boons. It was at self-realization after the 12 years of tapas. Okay? So my question is still about the enlightenment, about the Jnanodaya itself. Okay, so how did Satyaraju attain the enlightenment, or how did Satyaraju get enlightened? Yeah.
So I believe when one is doing samadhi, he is away from all his senses. He is not seeing anything. He is not listening to anything.
Yeah.
And when he is towards sound of Om, which he is getting it from Lord Shiva, he is totally emerged and has the oneness with that Omkar sound.
Yeah.
That Omkar sound is with him.
Yeah.
Whatever he want to achieve, he is seeing that before doing a karma, which belongs to him. He is at a pratyahar state. And when he is into samadhi, he has lots of lots of sound and light energy of the Shiva. That is why he is unable to have a controlled energy is beyond his mind. He is feeling that in every part of his body.
Yeah. Okay. Now, thanks, Nipendra Bhaiya. Is it all, or are you saying something else? Something more?
I wanted to say something, but I just lost in between.
Okay, okay. No, yeah, but anytime you feel like talking about it again, you can. Okay. Now, I would like to answer this based on what Swamiji told me. I don't think this is in any of the books. Okay. So this is what Swamiji revealed to me. When I was with him, I think I was alone at that time with him. And he revealed to me that he did not want to do tapas. Let me explain that, okay? What he meant was, see, here was a young boy, 14 years of age, and who came out of utter poverty, okay, who didn't have even enough to eat, no father, nobody to earn money in the family. So that was how utter his poverty was, okay? And this person, as a young boy of 5, understood what poverty was and kept working relentlessly, okay, to somehow come out of that poverty. So by doing the hard work, by working on the I forget that. Wow. What's the words, Balu? Maggam ఏమంటారు?
Loom, uncle.
English.
Handloom.
And yeah, the looms, okay? By working on the looms and weaving cloth and by doing business, okay, he could earn enough money to feed all the 6 people in his family, okay? I mean, he had himself to feed, his brother, his 2 sisters, his old mother, and his grandfather. Now, these people actually were again added to them were Swamiji's nephews, his sister's sons. The sisters were married, right? So by the time Swamiji sat in tapas, I think the sisters already had children, 1 or 2 each. Okay. And in our custom, in Andhra Pradesh, I think in South India, this is the custom. A girl, when she becomes pregnant, she comes home to her mother's house and the delivery of the child happens at the mother's house. And the mother and the mother's family has to bear all the expenses that are required for the delivery. Okay. Not only that, I mean, feeding their girl, and if that girl already has another child, that child also has to be fed. No, it may not look like a challenge to, people who are well-to-do, okay, even to middle-class people, but people who are struggling to get 2 meals a day, I mean, just imagine what will be their state when a married daughter comes back home with 1 child and then pregnant with another child, and the mother had to be fed and the child had to be fed, and the whole thing has to be taken care of, right? So this was the situation that Satyaraju faced. And by the time he was 14, he was earning enough money to feed all these people 3 meals a day. 3 full meals a day, okay? They did not go hungry at all, so long as he was still working. Okay? Not only that, what Swamiji told us was that he could save enough money. I mean, over and above covering all the expenses, he could save enough money to buy a couple of bangles, gold bangles for his mother. Okay? Now that was his state. Okay? So that is, I'm talking about the financial aspect of Satyaraju. Okay? Now look at the other part of him. He was extremely sportive. Okay? I mean, he was into sports a lot, all the sports that were being played by the boys there. And he used to be the first, I mean, the winner in all of the sports. And he became a leader by virtue of that to the group of young people in his village. So he was a leader of the people of the village, of the boys at least, the young boys. Then he was earning enough to feed not only himself but the whole family. And consider that, he was self-made. He didn't inherit any property. He didn't, right? There was not even a father to teach him the profession or anything like that, how to make money or anything like that. He had to learn everything by himself. And he was such a successful boy, such a successful man, self-made man. And now look at what happened on the 7th of August. Okay? Such a boy, so entrepreneurial, and he's put into Samadhi, into Bhav Samadhi by Lord Shiva. What would be his reaction? Can you tell me? Can you imagine that? I'll take another 5 minutes and then we'll stop here, okay? Just try to put yourself in his position. Okay? Now here he was playing with the children, smoking a cigar and eating a palmyra fruit, and suddenly something happens to him and he loses all awareness. He cannot do anything by himself. He cannot even talk. He cannot even open his eyes. Okay? Now, what would be his response or his reaction to that? Can I say it would have been some sort of a revolt? I mean, just imagine, this is what happens to all of us all the time, right? If anyone takes away our freedom, I am talking about what shall I say, the very basic freedom, right, of your own movement. You want to move your limbs, you want to talk, you want to see something, and somebody is controlling you, somebody is making sure that you cannot do any of that. Somebody is manipulating you. Somebody has overtaken you, right? You have become powerless. And what would be your reaction? You would revolt, right? You would start shouting and yelling and then beating others, whatever you want to do, but you want to express the will for freedom, right? And this boy was a very strong-willed boy, right? So that's what I mean by saying that he didn't want to do tapas. But again, think of this, okay? How is he going to revolt? How could he have revolted? He cannot talk. He cannot move himself. Forget that he cannot even open his eyes. He cannot communicate with others in any way. What would be the internal state of the boy? Okay? Now, if this happens to us in our life, it could be from our parents, it could be from our teachers at school, it could be from our siblings, our elder sisters and brothers, or it could be from a spouse, by friends, bullying, right? Do you think a strong person will tolerate that keeping quiet? He would revolt, right? And how can a person in Samadhi revolt? He cannot even revolt. He cannot talk. He cannot do anything. Try to imagine that condition of Satyaraju, right? And he knows that all this is being done by that fellow, that Jangama. He has done all this to me. I don't even know him. I don't know from where he came. Okay. Now, this is one side of it. Okay. So, I lose my freedom and I don't like that. So, what do I do to get back my freedom? Right? But then there is just another aspect of it which we need to understand. The control has been taken away from him, but is he suffering from that? See, the child wants to eat something. The parents refuse to give that to him. So he gets frustrated and then he revolts, right? The student wants to do something and the teacher opposes that. The teacher controls him. The teacher beats him. And so this guy revolts, right? But in this case, what is happening to Satyaraju? It may seem very ironical, but he is enjoying it. See, if you look at it from one side, he has lost his freedom. The very basic freedom of just moving your body, talking, seeing, all that is gone. All that freedom is lost. But at the same time, he is enjoying a kind of bliss that he has never experienced in life. And at zero cost, right? I mean, cost, I don't mean money, but he didn't have to do anything for that. Lord Shiva gave it to him just like that, right? Okay, keep that aside. Now, let us say he wants to revolt. He cannot do it. The other thing that a person in that state can do is complain. To whom can he complain? About what or about whom can he complain? Again, helpless, right? So this is what Swamiji meant by saying that I didn't want to do tapas. I had no desire to follow the instructions or be controlled by that Jangama Devara. But I had no option. He had all the power over me. He could totally control me. My thoughts, my actions, everything. But at the same time, he is giving me the bliss, the happiness that is not available in this world. Okay? So, this young boy realizes that there is some greater power beyond me, beyond a young, successful, entrepreneurial Satyaraju. There is something else which is more powerful. Okay? So, what is that? How do I find that? How do I learn that? How do I master that? Okay? Now, this is what I am referring to as enlightenment of Satyaraju. Okay? It's not just the touch of the Jangama Devara, in my opinion. Okay? That was the touch was to put him in that state of Bhav Samadhi. And then all this happened within Satyaraju. Okay? So that is why he determined to continue the tapas. Again, let me explain this with an example, okay? Just see what happened when he came out of Samadhi or when he could not go into Samadhi. Let me put it that way, okay? The example I am quoting is from the point when a black cobra bit him. He was going to the canal to have the daily midnight bath, okay? He was in the graveyard. He had to walk a few yards to reach the canal. On the way, when he was walking towards the canal, a black cobra bit him. And he could not tolerate that pain from the poison, you know. He suffered from that. And he was finding it difficult to get back into Samadhi. Okay. If he gets into Samadhi, then there's no problem, right? He won't feel the pain. He won't feel anything at all. But he could not get into Samadhi because the pain was too much for him, unbearable. Okay? So what happened? He revolted. He said, no, I am not going to do this tapas anymore. Why am I in this graveyard? Why have I left my family? Why have I left my mother and siblings, my business, my profession? I left everything and I am unnecessarily spending my time in the graveyard without doing anything. I am starving. I am thirsty. And why am I doing this? So he tried to go back home. And what happened? On the way again, he meets the Jangamadeva. Okay. The person whom he had seen 3 months ago and who initiated him and put him into tapas, into Bhava Samadhi, instantly, that person again appears in front of him and said, where are you going? He said, I don't want to do the tapas anymore. I am going home. He ordered him, go back and sit in tapas. And he complained, no, but the snake has bit me. It was a black cobra, a king cobra, which bit me, and I am unable to endure the pain from this poison. Okay. Then Jangamadevara told him, okay, that's the problem. I will give you a solution. So that is when he initiated Satyaraju into the Panchakshari. Om Namah Shivaya. It has 5 letters. See? Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Okay? Then he initiated Satyaraju into that mantra and asked him to recite that. Okay? So Satyaraju went back, sat in tapas again, and resolved that never again will I leave this path of yoga, even if I die. That is, I would rather die than leave this path of yoga that my guru has put me into and go back to my earlier life. Okay. So that is what I interpret as Satyaraju's enlightenment. Okay. Jnanodaya of Satyaraju. And that is when he actually started doing the tapas. Okay. So with that, I would like to close the session, unless there are some questions which I can take now.
Uncle, there are some questions in the YouTube live chat, Uncle.
Okay, Amma.
I mean, it is asked from Raja Alavat Auntie. Those are seems to be like comments as well. Can I read it out the comments, Uncle?
Okay, Amma, go ahead.
What in English language is called depression? Yoga Vashishta, it is called Vairagya, which is basic need for self-realization. That is one part of the question, Uncle.
Okay, Amma.
The second comment is Satyaraju got enlightened due to tapas of his previous births and Guru Kripa. After that, it was his Purusharth, means his own extreme hard work and determination. I feel that Vairagya is necessary but not must. These were the comments from Alavat Auntie.
Okay,
Uncle.
so can you save them, Amma?
Yeah,
so that
sure,
we can
Uncle.
discuss them? Huh?
Yeah.
So when you, I mean, in the live recording, I think even those will come in, right?
Yes, Uncle.
But the problem will be that they will appear only when at the point in time when they were asked, right? So instead, if we can have a record of all those comments, then we can take them up for discussion, Amma.
Okay,
I
Uncle.
hope you understand my request.
Yes, Uncle.
Okay.
In the Zoom chat, I see Meeta Vyas ma'am typing something in the chat. Can I ask her to unmute and...
Yeah, Amma. No, I see your question here.
Okay.
Okay. So, Amma, what happened was, after the Guru, the Jangamadevara, initiated Satyaraju into the Panchakshari, Namah Shivaya mantra, and asked him to chant it. When he went back and sat for tapas and started chanting the mantra, after a while, the poison was nullified by the effect of the mantra itself, by the effect of the chanting of the mantra itself. Okay. So this is how, by initiating him into the Panchakshari mantra, Jangamadevara or Lord Shiva helped him nullify the poison. Okay. And he was cured completely from the bite of the cobra, the black cobra. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, Amma?
I see a couple of questions from Vijaya auntie, uncle,
Okay.
Vijay Lakshmi
Yeah.
auntie.
Yeah.
Like it seems to be like a question
No, but is
or
she
like
there,
a
Amma?
comment, but let
Is there?
me. She's watching on the YouTube live, uncle.
Okay. Okay.
From there, I see the
Okay. Okay.
question.
Okay, Amma. Yeah, go ahead and ask the questions.
I'll just read it out.
Please.
I feel that the initial enlightenment was to give Satyaraju a glimpse of the goal to be achieved, that is, making him understand his true nature. That is, that he was not mind, body, but supreme soul or Atma. Tapas had to be done so that the glimpse that he got became more deep rooted and finally it became his permanent state. That is, so that he could abide in his true nature even once exposed to the world. It is my understanding, it could be wrong. Um, and there is one more comment, uncle.
Yeah.
In his previous birth, Swamiji would have had deep desire for self-realization. He might
Yeah.
have forgotten about it, but Shankar Bhagavan did not forget, and so he made him to do tapas to fulfill the desire. Again,
Okay.
it's a guess from my side.
Yeah. Okay. No, but see again, Vijaya, I want to clarify that at this point in time, I mean, in this discussion, we are only talking about Jnanodaya, enlightenment. Okay. I'm not talking about tapas yet. Okay. So I'll now take your comments. Okay. And then I'll try to read them and see if I can. I mean, I have so many questions from you which are still unanswered. Okay. So I was hoping that, with this discussion on tapas, gradually we can address those questions also. Okay. So let us see, Amma. Thank you very much for asking those questions.
Uncle, I see one more comment in the Zoom chat. It is from Phil, sir. So let me read it out. Jagadish, I understand the 12 years of tapas, but why is there a short amount time of 5 years?
Okay. See, the actual words of Swamiji were, whatever Swamiji could attain in 12 years, Yogi Vemana could attain it in just 5 years. This is what Swamiji actually said. Okay. So to understand that, I mean, I would like to take the example of the education system that we have today. And specifically, I want to take the PhD part, which is called the doctorate part, right? Is it postdoctoral or doctoral? I don't know. Okay. So there what happens is, as I understand, I am not a doctorate. Okay. I had not done my PhD. I am only a graduate, a BTech graduate. Okay. So what I understand is the person who is doing the doctorate, he takes up a particular topic or a subject to do research on and to do the doctorate on. And in the case of some people, it may be over in 1.5 years, 18 months, or even 2 years. Okay. Whereas some others may take 5 to 6 years to complete that. Okay. Now, in some cases, I heard that, I mean, they take up a problem, they try to find a solution to that. And then by the time they are reaching the solution, they find that somebody else has already solved the problem. So they had to let go of that problem. And again, they'll have to find a new problem to solve. Right? All from the beginning again. Okay. So this is what I understand about our education system, the current education system that we have in the world. I mean, all universities do the same thing, about the same thing, right? Similar things. They have the similar methods of education, methods of qualification, testing, all that. So I feel even in that spiritual science studies, a person can complete the course in 5 years, and to complete the same course, another person might take 12 years. Okay. And see, this is not a statement that Yogi Vemana made about himself. This is a statement that Swamiji made about Yogi Vemana. Okay, it's not that Yogi Vemana is claiming that what people do in 12 years, I have done it in 5 years. No, he didn't do that. It is Swamiji who is telling me that what Swamiji could achieve in 12 years of tapas, Yogi Vemana could achieve it in 5 years of tapas only. Okay. Then there is another such comparison that Swamiji has made about Gautama Buddha. Okay. What Swamiji told us, I mean, this actually happened in a Buddhist temple in New England, Boston area. Okay. So there was a Buddhist temple and Swamiji's program was conducted there. And while coming out of, after completing the program, while coming out of the venue, out of the Buddhist temple, Swamiji went towards the idol of Buddha and he bowed his head and he paid his obeisance to Lord Buddha. And then he turned to us and he said, try to understand this. Satyaraju, that is himself, Swamiji, as a child, was exposed to all kinds of difficulty and trouble, right? Like starvation, poverty, hard work. He was exposed to all of that, exposure to the elements, all that. But you look at Buddha, he said he was a prince. He lived in luxury. He was married. He had a wife and a child. But he left the palace, he left his wife, he left his child, and then he performed tapas, just like Swamiji did. But we can imagine that the same tapas would have been much more difficult much more tedious for Buddha, who was not used to hardship. Because he lived the life of luxury of a prince, right? So this is what Swamiji told us. Okay? No, so that's why I say only yogis tell us truth like that. Okay? Where they acknowledge and admit that somebody else is better than them. I don't think any other guru will do that. Okay? Yeah. Thank you, Anju sir. Hope that is clear. See, I'm sorry, I'll just add a little bit to that. I think it's even in Swamiji's books that Tom has written, and I think even in other books, there is a term called Yugas Tapas or Yuga Tapas or something like that. I have not actually heard Swamiji use those terms. Okay? He never defined it as Yugas Tapas or Yuga is 12 years. I never heard that. Okay? It is the others who talk about, the authors of the books who say that, a 12-year period is called a yuga in the spiritual language. And so yuga tapas or yogi is one who has done tapas for 12 years. I haven't heard Swamiji saying all that. Okay, so I don't agree with the definition of a yogi who has done yugas tapas. Yuga means 12 years. No, I don't. I don't subscribe to that definition of yogi or yugas tapas. Okay, because Swamiji himself told me that whatever he could achieve in 12 years, Yogi Vemana has achieved it in 5 years. So there is no real significance to that 12 years. Okay, and Swamiji told us that Vishwamitra and Vashishta, they performed tapas for 10,000 years. Parvati Devi performed tapas for 10,000 years. And only then she could marry Lord Shiva. Okay, so there it was not 12 years, it was 10,000 years. But here it becomes 12 years in the case of Swamiji. With the others, it is something else. So I don't go by that definition of Yugas Tapas. Yeah, Amma.
Uncle, there was a question that got skipped. It was asked in the initial minutes of the
Okay.
satsang.
Okay.
It is asked by Mario's iPhone. I think someone that person is not there in the Zoom session now.
Okay, Amma.
What is the difference between Shabda Surat Yoga and Swamiji's meditation? According to Ishwar Puri, there is a continuation of question. Shall I read it out, Uncle?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. According to Ishwar Puri, emphasizes on a spot behind the eyelids to samadhi. A sound of a bell will lead meditation into the astral plane and beyond. Ishwar Puri was initiated by Savan Singh from the Radha Swami faith. That's all, Uncle.
So see, I don't know about these other yogis or saints. I know about Shivabalayogi, so I prefer to talk about Shivabalayogi. I don't know about the other yogis, so I don't want to talk about them. And I don't understand, all that you are saying. I understand initiation. I understand tapas. I understand astral bodies. But beyond that, I don't know about them. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle, that's all from the Zoom side and the
Okay.
YouTube side.
YouTube side also. Okay. It's been a long session today. I think almost 2 hours, no? Why? 2.5 hours. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much to all the fellow devotees of Swamiji and others who have been patiently listening to me. I hope it was useful. Okay. And it will benefit you in some way or the other. Okay. Seeking blessings from Swamiji and God to help us continue our
Satsang. Yes,
spiritual
Swami.
journey. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Jagadish, it was very engaging. It's getting better by the day. So
Okay,
please
sir.
keep it up. I think it's Swamiji's
Okay,
blessings
sir.
coming through you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Balayogi Maharaj.
Jai.
Jai.